again, I thought I would just jump on the stream whilst Mr. Powers does the washing up and the dogs are frolicking in the garden, and show you a bit more supermarket loveliness, because the end of the last stream finished on a rather sad note 'cause I couldn't figure out my baked beans, but I figured them out and I've done a bit of tidying up. I have made a new floor, which is nice, isn't it? And I'm going to show you the logic for the baked beans, which I've now put onto all the other objects. And maybe we can... I've also I've increased the looseness on everything a little bit to get my thermometer down, because my thermometer was getting a bit outrageous. I was a bit worried about it, but luckily it's not a problem anymore. So let's have a look. So this is what we ended up with. Grocery logic is the standard logic now for all the grocery items. We have a tag so that when we do the tallying up at the checkouts, which we haven't done yet, we'll know what is in the basket. We've got these two sensors on the can. One of them detects the tag which is on the trolley, so the baked beans or whatever it is knows that the trolley is nearby, within about 3 and a bit meters. This one detects the imp, so that if I move the imp towards an item, it will also activate. So if either of these sensors is activated, we get a signal from the OR gate. Now, if we get a signal, first of all, the object, which is just a simple sculpt, becomes grabbable, and it also becomes physical. I could have put those both into one keyframe actually, but there we go. Now we've also got, actually I should delete that, because we've got a signal here going to the NOT gate. I'll have to try that out. We're going to do some testing, kittens. I've just noticed a wire that shouldn't be there. But saying that, things were working perfectly, so I may break it by removing that wire. But let's do a little bit of testing. Now, after we finished last time, I did a bit of testing, and hello everybody. Some people aren't in bed then. I did a bit of testing in this scene to make it quicker. So this is a top tip. So I'll make a little temporary little table, and then I'll place another sculpt just over here. This is going to be my fake trolley. Can you hear Mr. Powers in the background? So that'll be my fake trolley, and if I put a tag on there, and call it trolley, the can will think that that's the trolley. So let's just straighten that up a bit. There we go. I don't like it when things aren't straight, if you know what I mean. In fact, I love it when things aren't straight. What am I talking about? Yeah, so let's put that there and just make that a bit smaller, because we don't want to waste space. Now, this signal is being, if it's just run time, Okay, so we're not getting... There we go. So we're only grabbable. This is why they're separated, actually. If you notice here, here's the trolley, right? So right now the can is not physical or grabbable because the trolley's too far away and I can't reach the tin of beans. The trolley comes parading along the aisle and suddenly we're within grabbable reach, so we become grabbable. And this is why that was wired up. So that should be wired to there. Now, so I was correct. Now the reason why we've got all this bump here is so that if the trolley moves away from the tin can, or the baked beans leave the triggers, if the trolley leaves the baked beans trigger zone, whether it's the trolley moving away or the baked beans being thrown out of the way, there's a timer here so that when the signal is lost from this OR gate, so basically when this NOT gate gets activated by not receiving a signal from this gadget, it outputs a pulse. Well, it outputs a signal, a constant signal, but we put it into the signal manipulator so that when that signal comes on, we get a single pulse out of this output, which goes both to this counter and to this timer. Now what that means is that the counter becomes full and takes over the keyframe, which is physical. So the baked bean can stops being grabbable, but it keeps being physical because this wire hands over to this wire. But the timer also starts, and after 5 seconds or whatever time you want to set, we send a signal to reset the counter, which removes the signal from the physical. So what that means is if the trolley tag leaves the can's trigger zone like that, you can see there that the physical keyframe lasts for another 5 seconds. And what that does is it stops the baked beans from stopping being physical when they're in thin air and floating and being strange, which is good because that's what I wanted. We didn't have to bother with movement sensors or anything. Also, also we've got some sound as well, though I think we already had that. And I've put the visuals, which is the hover state, which makes it glow and puts the text and the number into their own microchip just to tidy things up a bit. So when you hover over, oh that's right, it's in here. So when we are within range of the baked beans, we activate this microchip. So this stuff is all switched off, and then so this grab sensor is not sensing until we are within range, because there's no point in having all this active until we're grabbable. So when we become grabbable, we also activate the grab sensor, and if we're hovering or grabbing, because it's an OR gate, we reveal the text and we make it glow. Does that all make sense? I'm learning this as well. I'm quite impressed by my own abilities now to oh hello, of course. Oh, for goodness sake, every time I set the dreams category, it disappears. Now why isn't it showing me my dashboard? It's like when I start the stream, it removes that category. Anyway, that should be back now, kittens. There we go. Spinny magic. Baked bean logic. Well, baked bean logic is, you know, that's what it is. So let's get rid of that. Okay, we're all ready. So let's put the baked bean... Well, we don't need to save this. Let's just go back to the thing. Don't save, because it was all right in the first place. And I will demonstrate in situ. And then maybe we can make a couple more. Do you like the music? I might turn it down a bit. So there, we go within range. We hover. Red wine, £3. I've also turned up. Let me turn the TV down. I might have to turn that music off while we're doing the stream because it's going to get annoying. I'm going to need to get some better music. I might also have to turn up the radius on the baked bean cans because when they're on the top shelf they don't detect quite as well as they should. So sometimes the top beans can get stuck because they haven't activated yet. But also if you chuck one on the floor and move away, after a few seconds the destroyer activates, ding, and gets rid of them. So that tidies up the physics and keeps things optimal, so you don't have performance issues. The music, I'm not sure. If you look in the genealogy of the level, oh, you can't subscribe it. I'll have a look in a minute. Let me have a look. It's a shame. Does it show you when you look at the Let me just turn the music down for a minute. It's called Sumiyaki Swing. Not sure who it's by. I just nicked it off the Dreamsps4. Oh dear, there it is. By J plus B with an underscore after the J. It was the nearest thing I could find on the Dreamsps4 using the tags. But I think what we'll probably need is something a little more, you know, something a little bit more crazy for the final game. So we'll probably need someone to help us out with that. Right. I'm not going to mess around with that at the moment, although we are going to need a grade gadget. So I'm going to stick that on there anyway, because it would all help. It's best to get as much stuff in the scene as possible that's approaching what you're going to have in your final scene, just so that you know that your thermometer will cope. The other thing is with the floor, in order to try and reduce the thermometer a bit, I've got a fake floor. So there's the collision floor, which is the original floor, but because it's one enormous sculpt, it's actually quite heavy on the thermometer. So I've made that invisible, and I made this little tiling one, and just tiled that, and that's not collidable. And what that means is I get the nice smoothness of a single sculpt, because otherwise your collision, your physics on your trolley might wibble about and get annoying on the tiles, in the gaps between the tiles. So I think the physics is probably cheaper for one big sculpt and smoother, but the visuals are cheaper to have one cloned mini object with a lot less flex on it. I am making Supermarket Sweep, but we're not going to call it that because copyright. I've also reduced I've increased the looseness, so unfortunately we've lost a bit of the fidelity on our lovely hand-painted labels. But fidelity of tiny details is not as important as actual gameplay. So we've just had to sort of reduce the tightness on everything a little bit. But you wouldn't know, the gameplay is just fine. And we've managed to reduce the thermometer by about half, which was wonderful. We've still got a lot of stuff to put in here. So there's probably going to need to be more optimization. I will get some top tips from the people in the office. Now I'm going to put a wall here. Let's do a little bit of building. I'm going to take the colour from that wall, which is always very easy and nice using the touchpad. I'm going to build a wall here. Unfortunately, everything is off the grid at the moment, which is a bit annoying. Or it's on the grid, but it's on a sort of slightly wonky grid. Mr. Powers is lurking. He's just done all the washing up, bless his heart. Is everyone doing anything exciting today on Bank Holiday Monday? At least those of you in the UK. There'll be other people who are at work, sadly, if you're not in the UK. Barney the doggy. So the other doggy, the third doggy, Barney, is here today. I'll post a picture of him later. I'm going to put a window here as well. So actually I'm going to lower this to about the height of the trolley. Table height. And then I'm going to put a door in here, but the door will be closed because we don't want any unwanted, well, we don't want anyone trapped in here. This is not the Mist. I'll leave a little step there just for realism. Oops. And then we'll extend that wall a little bit. Does that look about right? The doors on supermarkets are quite big usually, aren't they? Hello, Tall Paul. Hello, PSN Farty. Supermarkets weep. They'll weep after they play this. I tell you now. Right, let's make a window frame. I'm gonna make it a slightly that's my coffee machine. I do apologise for the sound, but we have to be accommodating to other humans. I'm not a professional Twitch streamer, I'm afraid. So I would normally do this when the house is quiet and I'm on my own. But I'm not today, but I thought I would come online anyway. To amuse and delight you. Right. It's just going to stretch out. So I'm using the shape editor. I don't know if you knew that you can do holes. That's a bit thin, that hole. I want a thinner hole. Why is it doing that? Oops. Using the wrong button. Hey kittens. I do apologise. Right, okay, let's get rid of the hole. We can make our own hole. We don't need you. Stamp that in place. Go back to here. We're going to keep the same colour. I've just reset the shape by clicking on the shape again in the shapes menu. We're going to make a thinner, more delicate frame. That's better, isn't it? We're going to move this down. We'll probably do a oh, that's not in the right place, is it? We're in the shape editor again, aren't we? Okay, so we're going to do that at about head height, so that people looking out the window don't have their vision obscured by unsightly window frames. And we're going to move that down. I think we'll make that bit a bit thicker. That's there, that's better. Oops, that one's a bit low. Make that one a bit thicker as well. Maybe I'll make that one a bit... no, I won't. That would be foolish. Do this. If you accidentally sculpt into the same sculpt... if you accidentally sculpt two objects into the same sculpt, there's a way to fix it. Basically, you get your shape. Sometimes it might be a bit too hard, but usually it's alright. And you go to cutout mode. And then you make your brush the right size and shape to encompass one of the shapes that's wrong. And then you move that down to basically cut them in half. And that turns them into two objects. I've got a horrible feeling I've just done something bad here. No, that's alright. That must be a shadow. Right, so let's move this window frame over to here. Pop that down. Pop. And now we're going to put some glass. Now, what do you prefer? Would you like us... It's not a mist. No, it's not the mist. We could put some flies on the outside as a little bonus Easter egg. Maybe if you get a certain score, the aliens come and attack you. Hello, Smoke and Play. Hello, Basket Snake. Now I'm going to glass. Would you rather I used a text gadget or a painting? I think paintings are cheaper. So let's have a look at using a painting. So let's go to paint mode. We've got our heavy fleck. We're going to change that to be a sort of pale blue. We might want to make that grey in the end. Let's make it about the right size. I'm going to make it a double width. And then, oh, I'm going to use the ruler. And I might as well go all the way through. And I've forgotten to make it shiny, but that's okay because we can do that after. And then I'm going to do another one there. Straight down to the bottom. So it's a kind of grubby looking window, but that's alright. I'm going to just scope in. I've overlapped them now, so hopefully that'll look a bit better. We're not going to see that bit anyway, or that bit, so it's fine. So let's go out of there. Let's make it opacity. Oh no, what we can also do, because you see they're overlapping, you get this stripy effect. So if I reduce the fleck density, not only will it become cheaper, but it will become a little bit more uniform. See that? And then we can go here. We can turn this finish up, because you can wire the if you want the finish to change on a painting. You can't do it on a sculpt for some reason, but you can do it on the painting. You can wire things into that. I'm not sure what would come out of there. I guess you can wire that into something else. Shininess high, waxiness high, and that means if we, that'll do for a window, won't it? Let's just grab that and grab that and group them, and now we've got a window. And now we can clone it. Here we are. Oh, I've just realised I need to save this window out, because otherwise it's going to cause problems. Also, I'm going to shrink those paintings down again. Because, oops. Oh, that's it. Don't forget you can always use the undo tool. I'm going to scale them down again because reasons. Why is that like that now? That's better. Why is that scaling all the time? That's what it should be like. There. I think we're probably okay. Alright, that'll do. They're not perfect. What we could do actually is turn the looseness up ever so slightly. That's going to make it's going to make an overlap down there, but that's alright, we can cope with that. And we'll turn the fleck density down a little bit more just to accommodate that change. I mean, it would look neater with the text gadget, but I've got a feeling text gadgets are not cheap. Okay, let's save that as a sculpture. Supermarket window. Yes, exactly. If you want something to get sweaty looking, or if your character jumps in the water, you could make them shiny to look like they're wet. Now, oh wait a minute, I did that wrong, didn't I? Oh dear, oh dear. Let's save that again. That's a bit annoying, isn't it? I thought I was outside the group, but I wasn't. So I messed that up. Don't do that, kids. That's not what you meant to do. Right, it's okay. So we've done it properly now. When we've got more lights in here, the windows will look a bit shinier. What we'll also do is we'll put a ceiling in to hang these lights from. Now we're going to go to clone mode because we're going to live clone these, so that if I know that they're instances of a object that's already saved. Wait a minute, what's happened there? Huh? How did that get grouped? That's very strange. Oh dear, what have we done? I've made a mess. That's where we're supposed to be, right, okay. No, it's not where we're supposed to be. I'm going to leave that there. That shouldn't be grouped. What's going on? Somehow we've added those things to this group, even though we weren't in there. So let's just do this, right. So we're going to remove these things from the group. How did I clone those? Grab, hold L1, back out. There we go. Phew. Now I'm not sure whether we've got... No, see that isn't a... We're going to have to make another supermarket window and tidy the other ones up shortly. What a mess. It's because it's early. I haven't had enough coffee yet. Visual feedback is not popular with artists, I'm afraid. But maybe I should switch it on. I just like seeing what things look like. Right. Oh, bugger. Now, I reckon we can just move one of these walls in. Ta-da! And then we'll move this to fit the windows. So that when we put our door in, it lines up with the windows. So we'll remove these two windows. And we'll put our door there. What we're also going to do is we're going to clone... Oh... We're going to make some amazing signage. Don't worry about that, Enoch Root Dreams. I know, I have had one coffee today, but it clearly isn't enough. And I'll do a little bit of fake scenery outside as well. And I'm going to put a nice sunny... I'm going to change the sun and sky, and I'm going to put the ceiling in. And use the hide tool to hide it. So, sun and sky. I know I should be making more gameplay, but I like making things look pretty. Kittens. Oh, Barney. That's the sun. Let's put the sun outside the window. Let's say sun visible. Where is the sun? Oh, there it is. We don't. Do we want it visible outside the window? We can always change it. Not that big, kitten. Oh dear. Let's just turn down the grid a minute. There we've got some lovely shadows. And then when I put the ceiling in, that should calm things down a little bit. Oh, sausage. One of the doggies is whining. Oh, now I forgot that when I move that wall, this wall would move too. Because it's one sculpt. That might also be expensive. We'll have to have a look at that later. There. It's all very grey at the moment, but when the Kitty Powers signage goes up, it's going to be pink and fabulous. And there'll be posters in the window. And all sorts. It's going to be wonderful. I might make that sun a bit higher. It looks a bit too evening-y, doesn't it? You won't see the sun, but that's alright. We can cope with that. We could put a fake sun in anyway. It's the land of make-believe. We can do whatever we like. Right, let's make a tile for the ceiling. Because I want to see what the lighting's like, frankly. And then we'll maybe we'll either make some new things to put on the shelves, or we could make a fabulous chiller cabinet. But we're gonna do British style ones. I don't know whether that will offend anyone. But we are in the UK here. Well, I am anyway. So I only know what I know. That's it. Right. Oh, didn't want to do that. I'm going to take that. And I'm going to make it a very dark grey, like the window frames. And then I'm going to clone it. I'm going to save that out because I want to update it later. Supermarket ceiling. And I'm going to clone it, oops, using the live clone. Oh, bums. It's a shame I can't move the camera. I'd have to guess and then delete the extra ones. Oops, there's always a lot of extra ones, isn't there? Oh. Oops, there's a little sneaky one trying to escape. We can't have that, can we? And then we will clone these. Let's just try and move a bit further out. There we go. Back to the clone tool. I was told doing live clones was cheaper. I might be wrong. It's a bit difficult to see this far away. Oh, never mind. Let me get a bit closer and we'll do it the other way because it's easier. Right. We can actually see the opposite side, so it should be a bit easier. I think that's enough. There we go. I wanted to group those. And now go into the group and delete the extra ones. There we go. Do we need to delete these? I think there'll be a gap if we do that, but actually that's okay. We can just move that wall. Better to have less if we don't need it, because we've got plenty of space. There we go. Let's just check there's no gap there. There is a slight gap. No, there isn't. It was just a highlight. Right, let's see how that looks. Let's do a quick save. Yes, I know that, but if I'm going to do if I want to make one unique, I'll clone it without live clone. So don't panic. Feels a bit more like a proper supermarket now. I should really have got some reference. I'm old enough, and I've been in enough supermarkets to know what they more or less look like. Definitely going to need to make the trigger zone a bit bigger on the baked beans. I could turn the lights down a little bit as well. go. That looks good, doesn't it? It's getting better. Let's look out the window. Oh yeah, look. There's the trolley park and the car park. Or parking lot, whatever you want to call it. I like the shadows, work nicely. Maybe I should put windows down on the other side. Just for a bit of fabulosity. But I want lots of room for signage. I've got a feeling these bottles are expensive physically. They're not unusual physics. But anyway, that's enough of that nonsense. We could do that as an optional extra. We could have all sorts of hazards. I'm not going to make a clone of the game show. I'm going to make I'm going to make a game inspired by Supermarket Sweep. Okay, let's make a chiller cabinet. It's going to be much the same, I suppose, as these, but it will look slightly different. Let me have a think. The one that you usually get milk in the supermarket. Let me do some research. It is a British game show. If you look it up on the internet, you'll be delighted to discover it. Let's have a look. I'm just going on the internet, which I do a lot. I'm going to do a search for supermarket fridge image search. That's what I want. One of those. A cheapo looking one. We'll make it the same size as our shelves. It won't have as many shelves as a real one because we've only got we're not having any mental toddlers, thank you. There's enough of those in the real world. What I should do is put a ramp in here just for the lols, just for the temporary lols. Let's do that. Just so you can tip the cart over, because I want to show you, in case you didn't see it, I've got a special mechanism for righting the cart when it tips over. It moves very quickly when it's empty. Oh, you know what I need to do? Let's put some stuff in it, that'd be more fun, wouldn't it? It'd probably be alright to tip them as well. Always got to get some wine in the cart. I've put sound effects on all the shopping, the groceries as well. Let me just turn that music down a bit. Turn that down! Let's have a look. Volume. Oh. Didn't make any difference at all, did it? Oops. Oops. I didn't want to do that. Let's make it -15. still quite loud, isn't it? Oh dear, I'm not an audio expert by any means. That's a little bit more. I mean, it's still quite loud, but it's alright. I like the way everything shakes around in the trolley and falls out easily. Oh, it gets quite heavy. It's funny, when it's got more stuff in it, it is harder to push. That's it, look, it's all falling out. So, when you've got an angle sensor on the trolley, I could show you the logic for the trolley actually. So that when it tips and it goes off angle, it activates this text, which I need to make less bright actually, and it deactivates the sticks. Well, it doesn't deactivate them completely, but you have to press X, and that activates a gyro, which is much more powerful than the usual one, and a force applier, not a force applier, a mover. There we go. Which just rights the cart. So I thought, since you would probably do that anyway, if the stuff falls out of your cart, it's gonna disappear, because you can't really reach the floor. Now, but they only disappear when they're touching the floor. So that one hasn't disappeared because it's on the ramp. Oh dear. I don't know what happened there. You know what I need to do as well is turn the physics off on the ceiling. I might even make the bottom part... Well, when I put the panelling on the walls, I'll probably reduce the collision there as well. Playtime in edit mode. I could do that, yeah, that's a very good idea. I don't use that sort of thing very often. I forget that it's there. I'd be so much better if I remembered things, wouldn't I? Anyway. Back to edit mode. I'm going to leave that there just for amusement purposes. We'll delete it later. Let's make a fridge. Now that I've seen one, I know what I'm making. So let's build one. Sculpt mode. They're usually white, so let's make it slightly off-white. Make it quite about the same width as the shelves. It's about the same, isn't it? I'm not going to bother measuring it. I can always fix it later. I'm going to make it a bit deeper though, because they've got a sort of sticky out bit. So I'm going to allow for that. Then I'm going to make it up here. We don't want it too tall because then the player won't be able to reach the upper shelves and it will mess with my physics system. But we'll add a little bit more there, that's it. And now we're going to stamp that in place. We're going to keep it fairly simple because we can always tart it up again later. Come on, rotate nicely. Why isn't it doing it? Do it for mummy, go on. That's it. Right, now we're going to do that at about the same height, maybe a little lower. That's it. And then we're going to make this smaller, and we're going to pop it inside for a super cheap single sculpt. Right, is that about the right depth? I think so, probably, yes. We could make this a little less chunky. That's about right, isn't it? Can we do it from there? We don't want it to pop out the back. That's quite it's quite thin, the back now. I'm a bit worried about the physics, so let's just push that in slightly. Just one nobble. Bing. There we go. Yeah, I need someone to compose me something original for the game, so that we don't get shouted at. Also, let's just stamp that in there. I'm also going to make this a little deeper because we need room for our shelves. There we go. And then what I'll do is I'll add some vents along the bottom for realism. Let's have a look. Right, so let's think about this, shall we? We want a couple of shelves. Maybe only one. Because we don't have too many things in each cabinet, because we want to spread things out in the supermarket, but we've only got so much budget for thermometer. So I'll put a single shelf in there for now, and then we'll deal with it later. Oops. Oh, blimey. I do like to rotate with the touchpad, but it's sometimes a bit fiddly. And then we'll put that about there. That's right. Well done. It's often a lot easier to just do it in the shape editor, especially with the DualShock. Because you've got more control then. I'll just stamp that in. I think that's correct. Let's move it up a little bit. There. Now we can put cartons of orange juice and frozen peas in the fridge. Yes, it's PS4 only, I'm afraid. A trolley handle control. Oh, I see. Well, I don't know about that. You can use your imaginations. Right. Let's have a look. Should we put some detail on this thing? Let me have a look at the picture again. Right, normally they actually have a lot less frontage than that. So I'm going to do something with this shape here. I'm going to push that back. But I also want to move the top of it down, but I can't do that, can I? That's a pain in the bum. I'm going to have to remove that shelf and redo this. How annoying. I should have looked at it properly. But that's alright. Look, we've still got the hollow inside, so that's okay. And then we're gonna do this properly. So let's do that. I'm gonna go inside it. Maybe I should switch. Oh, I can't do that when I'm in the shape editor. Right. Now we want to. I'm going to make that a bit shorter than it needs to be because I want to put a slope there. So let's leave that there, and then we'll put a sloping piece, which we will put here. Oops. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to turn off the grid, turn on precise move, because I want a slightly shallower angle than 45 degrees. So I want to do that. And then I'm going to move that to there, and then move it up to there. And now we've got a lovely chiller cabinet. Isn't that nice? It's a fridge actually, not a freezer. The freezer will probably be one of those old-fashioned ones where it's just a box, which is kind of as high as this bit here, and then there's no upper bit. It'll just be a row of those, so that it's like a big box that you lift things out of. Because I don't really want anything with doors on it, because that'd be annoying. Annoying for the player. We can't have that, can we? So let's put in a... That's quite chunky, isn't it? Should we make that a bit thinner? Oh no, we don't want that. We do want to put the grid back on. I've spent most of my life trying to be less chunky. a little bit more sort of elegant, isn't it? So we're back in edit mode. Sorry, we're going to make a dark grey again. And pop that in the corner. I'm just using my reference to see what detailing I need to put on this thing. And according to this, the sides have windows on them. So between this dark part and the so down the sides of the fridge, it will have glass down here, and then inside that we'll have the shelves. But the shelves will probably only come out halfway. That's quite nice, isn't it? It's amazing what you can do when you use a bit of reference. I wouldn't have been able to done that from memory. Okay, let's I could just, well, no, I should put something there. Maybe I'll just steal one of these. No, I'll do a new one. So let's oh, that's not working, is it? Let's use a pale blue again, because that is the bog standard stereotype of glass. Let's hide that menu because it's in the way and it's getting on my nerves. Now, this is going to be tricky because that black part needs to intersect with the white part. Oops. And I need to use the ruler. Dope. So there we go. I can move it afterwards anyway, so it's not a big problem. It's a bit hard to see when everything's blurry, which is why I had switched off visual feedback. Right. Let's just tweak that. Let's make it transparent. Let's make it shiny. Shiny. Waxy. Let's turn down that spacing. That's it. For cheapness. Kind of looks alright, doesn't it? And then what I'll do is I'm going to move let's get out of the way. Get out of it. I'm going to move that to intersect with one notch so that I can move the painting in there, and then it will intersect with the black part, which is what I wanted. And then I'm also going to precise move and clone that so that it's, oh, I need to move this one as well. Dope. Turn the grid back on. And then we can move this blue bit in a bit. There we go. Ta-da! Now we can put our shelves back in. It's a supermarket fridge cabinet. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but it's part of my game. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the shelves in. So let's do that with stamp tool. We do want to put kind of want it about there, but I don't want it to be all the way forwards because it's going to be annoying. It's going to go to about there. I'm keeping this because it's already the right width. And then I'll go into the shape editor, stretch that along. He wants to go just inside the glass. That's probably alright. I'll leave that as it is. There we go. And then what I might do, just for the lols, is use the spray paint tool with a dark grey. We're going to get some snap to surface, and we're going to just run that along the front there. Oops. I might just use precision move, it'll be easier. And stay upright. There we go. Oh, why isn't that working? It's a shame there isn't a... well, that's not working, is it? Let's just do it this way. Just got to be very careful not to move the imp while I'm doing this. Oh, did I mess it up? No, but I did miss one. Oops. And I'm also going to do the sides of those shelves. Except I can't because the glass is in the way, which is why that hide everything else thing is very handy. Oops. There. Right, I'm going to finish this off and then I'm going to love you and leave you, kittens, because I have to go and see my family today. There. Let's just put a couple of bottles of wine in there, just to see how it feels. We'll replace them with something more appropriate at a later date. Oh, where am I going to go? Oh, look, the fridge. The other cool thing about the fridge is we can put lights inside it. Also, I'd like to make the bottle smash if I can afford it. Yes! Anyway, let's delete those for now. What have I selected? Have I just deleted the glass? I have, haven't I? I've still got my glass, haven't I? Yes. Let's put a strip light in here. Just because we can. We could even do it with a stroke, actually. That would probably be cheaper. Let's do that, shall we? We'll do a nice pale blue colour. We'll snap to surface. Make it smaller. And we'll put it... Oh. We'll put it... Where are we? Oh, we're inside it. We'll use the ruler tool. That's it. All the way along there. That's it. We might want to move it up slightly. That's it. Now if we just turn the glow up on that. That's good, isn't it? Probably needs a little bit more, I think. Oops, not that. Not that. It's quite bright, isn't it? It looks good though, and I think we'll copy that. No, I didn't want to go into sculpt mode. I wanted to go into paint mode. That's it. And then clone that and put it underneath in there. That's it. Thank you. And now the only problem is it doesn't cast shadows, but I think... Is that alright? I think it's alright. Let's move it back against the wall. I'm going to group all these as well now. So that's 1, 2, 3. Is that right? No. No. Oh, this is a pain in the bum. Right. Select that. Select that. Does that mean, are they both the same painting? I don't think they are they? Select that. Select, no. That's it. There we go. And now, wait a minute, I want to make the grid a bit bigger. Why isn't it working? That's where people can get their sandwiches for lunch. I'll put some vents and things on it later. It's a shame that the glow has to come out so far. I guess it's just because it's translucent. I will actually, I know what I could do. I know what I can do. If I go into the group, I think it might be because the fridge is a little bit waxy. So we turn our waxiness. There we go. So it's very not waxy at all. Shininess. There. Ooh. A little bit of that and a little. Oh no. A little bit of that. There. And of course, when we've got lights here, oops. I need to turn off the collision on the ceiling, don't I? There we go. And then we could put a set of lights over there just to see how that looks. I might make that a little bit brighter. No. Oh well, we can fiddle with that later. I'll put some vents on it as well in a bit. But we now have a fridge cabinet, which is nice. Am I going to put the dangly plastic bits? No, I'm not, because that will require lots of physics, and we don't have a lot of. We're going to have a lot of physics in this game, and physics is expensive, so we need to do an awful lot of collidable. No, we don't want it collidable. We do want it visible. You know, if you double tap X, you can select all. It's a handy hint. Collidable, no. There we go. That should help. So, between now and the next stream, I will do a little bit more work on that fridge, and I will add some other bits. I might make the supermarket a tiny bit smaller so that there's one aisle here. I'll put some fridges down that side, although I do need to put a freezer section. I might put that down here actually. and I need to put a fruit and veg actually, so this fridge section should probably go over to the far side. In fact, we can do that now. Oops. Because we're going to put fruit and veg by the entrance for authenticity. And I will make this into a file of its own. I haven't done it yet because I was impatient to see how it would look. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I might put a gap there just to put something else, just to make it a bit more interesting. Row upon row of the same thing looks boring, so if we just leave a gap there, we can put something else, like a door or something. I feel like they're not bright enough. I guess when things are on the shelves it will help. Oh, I've got a new follower. PlayStation. Yeah, the original Supermarket Sweep game show, you started off at the entrance, and there was some checkouts here, which I need to put in. Checkouts will be along here, but I suspect that the one that you need is going to be here, so all the other lanes will be closed. You'll start here, and you'll be given a time limit, like you've got 1 minute, or 90 seconds, or whatever, to rush round. You can fill your trolley up. Quick, quick, quick. Put the expensive things in. Actually, the expensive stuff will be the furthest away from the door for gameplay reasons. And then you do all that, you get as much stuff as you can in your trolley. And then you rush back to the checkouts, and you can put your trolley into the checkouts. If you've still got time, you can take your empty trolley back out and get more stuff. I think in the original show they just gave them another trolley, but in my one it will just empty magically. Because the trolley's quite expensive, so we can only afford one of them in the scene at once. So you'll rush around, you might go over here to get some fridge stuff, or the freezer section. There might be a deli counter at the back. And the other thing is that they have, what I'm probably going to do is randomly choose 5 items to go on a shopping list that you'll be given at the beginning. And if you get all 5 items that are on the shopping list, you get bonus points. And also there might be hidden objects like inflatables they had in the original show, where they would hide like an inflatable up on the top of the shelf, and if you grab that you got bonus points as well. So there'll be a multitude of ways to get oh, too Dano, I'm just a drag queen. I was born a boy, and I will always be a boy. But in my heart, I haven't really made my mind up. I've got a boy's body. I like being both. Some days I like to be a lady. Other days I like to be a bloke. And you know, it's my life, so I can do what I like with it. Anyway, there we go. I'm not hurting anyone, am I? Let's get some more washing powder. Now you'll notice you're using the sticks here to control the trolley. If I push the right stick forward, it will push it like that. Push the left stick forward, it will push it like that. If I push both sticks forward, it goes forwards. If I push both sticks to the left, it will go left. If I push both sticks to the right, it will go right. So you can do strafing as well. Pretty good. It's like a real trolley. Anyway, now that we've got our fridge cabinet, we have made progress, we've got our windows and our ceiling. I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you next time. I might be able to do another stream before the weekend, otherwise I'll see you on Saturday. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, MsKittyPowers. You can follow me on PSN, I'm also MsKittyPowers. And you can follow me on Twitch, TheKittyPowers. And also, if you want to buy my games, go to magicnotion.com. There's 3 of them there. One of them's free, actually. That's mobile only, speed date. And I'll see you soon, kittens. Au revoir. Have a lovely remains of your Monday, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.